beautiful soul. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Astara and I'm an angelic clairvoyant. And I want to talk to you today on this cozy Sunday night. I've had quite an interesting weekend and it's made me think about what you can do if you have a touch point with your twin, if you have a text from them, particularly after a period of separation, but it could happen at any time. If you have a surprise meeting with them, or just when you have like this reconnect, this touch point. Because as you know, on the twin flame journey, you will have these touch points because it's divinely orchestrated. It's not by mistake that these are happening. It's like an active principle that's going on. Anytime that you or your twin goes into some sort of stagnancy or stagnant behavior, you'll notice that you'll have a period of time and then suddenly you'll have another connection with them. And I've kind of noticed that these touch points happen maybe like the first big separation might be about 9 months. And they kind of go in lumps of 3 months. And I've noticed that they can be 9 months, then they could be 3 months, then they could be 6 months. But you'll notice that they have this kind of cyclical quality to them. And hopefully, one that you can see that even in those break points between your meetings or your texts or your communications, you're actually being sent into quite a kind of accelerated cycle of change, of growth, of inner growth. Sometimes that growth can be a lot of shadow work, a lot of releasing of emotion, quite sometimes quite painful. But if you can work through them, actually what you're doing is releasing energy, and you can really begin to release energy for your work, for your understanding and healing your twin. And you can be amazed actually about what you can achieve. And so I'm going to start doing more videos about that because a lot of people find this journey quite arduous, and I don't blame them, but also you can get stuck. And what I'm noticing is when we get stuck is when we don't make use of these touch points and use them to send us into another cycle. It's really common actually for people to become very fearful of reconnecting with their twin because there's a lot of maybe memory that's embedded that, oh, the last time it happened, they weren't very nice to me, or the last time it happened, it created a real trigger in me. And like, let's face it, nobody wants to be triggered. But I have this feeling, and I'm using it myself, that every time you're on this journey, you get a touch point and you get triggered, really embrace it, like really go into it, because it's showing you huge amounts of awareness and awakening and allowing you to release energy that you can then use rather than going into stagnancy and lack of feeling and numbness, which is where a lot of us are most of the time. This is when I want to talk about what goes on when you have some valuable insights. Because I noticed that every time I came into contact with my twin, firstly, it was like truth serum. It was it was like they would rock up and say the weirdest things to me. They would tell me like these deep things about their life, really important things about their life, but actually really important things about my connection with them. And it would just be very, very strange because there wasn't really even any context. It would be like, hi, how are you? And then it'd be like, oh, this is happening in my life, that's happening, I'm moving, I'm doing this, da, da, da. And it would be so intense that in these tiny little interactions, I'd come away thinking, what was that about? Like, what on earth was that about? Like, it was like I was being given an update on their life and where they were going and what they were doing. And I noticed too that I didn't really have the same desire to share as they did. I wanted to share about other things. I wanted to talk about the twin flame journey, even though I didn't mention it was twin flames. I wanted to talk about the soul connection, but there was never any space because the matrix twin is usually dealing with a lot of stuff in the physical world. So I noticed one of the valuable insights I was getting was they were giving me an update about where they were at in their physical life, where they were at in terms of freeing themselves from the matrix and freeing themselves from their karmic relationship, freeing themselves from their enmeshment in difficult relationships or difficult work relationships. Or there was something here, they were just gaining momentum about what they wanted to really do and pull them out of these situations that were keeping them stuck. If you are coming into contact with your counterpart, you will receive valuable insights, and this will help with your healing, your alignment, and also balancing the energetic bond between you. Because essentially, what I'm beginning to see is there is a wound to be healed at the soul level, and you're both trying to work with that polarity to bring it into balance. When you're the awakened twin, you're usually the one who's more conscious of your spiritual nature and the connection. So you might be able to read these signs that they're telling you and kind of signposts and guidance that they're giving you. You might be able to read between the lines, like decoding actually what's happening. You'll feel the energy is shifting quite deeply, even though at times you might wonder if it actually is. And you'll notice subtle signs and emotional undercurrents and frequency changes in your relationship with your twin. So if you receive a text message and you might have a little meeting with your twin, then just remember that these are divinely orchestrated. These moments aren't random, and I do see them as activations. They're opportunities for energy exchange and reflection that show you who and what is still being healed and where the connection is being dynamically moved between you. So, one of the things I would say here is that sometimes you'll have an interaction with your twin and you'll come away feeling a bit off. And one of the ways that you can notice this is you'll be triggered. You'll be triggered in some way. And to notice that when this trigger happens, to just pay attention. Just see what's going on in your body. Just pay attention. See what emotions are coming up. See what's going on in your mind, what mental looping. See what feelings are coming up. And allow yourself to go through this. Allow yourself to deeply embrace this experience. Because what I'm noticing for me is before I would have a contact point with my twin, and it would be off, like I would be in one place and he would be in another place. And when we met, it was just like, what's going on? And then I realized that those times would take me months. They would take me months to get over and months to rebalance. And sometimes I would really not know what was going on. It was a very difficult kind of dark night of the soul trigger. But as time's gone on, I'm noticing I'm recovering much more quickly. Like, and it shouldn't be about recovery, but I mean like coming back to balance more quickly. Now it's within an evening. I'm like by I'll have a contact with my twin, then I'll feel a bit off, even though they're actually being very nice, but it will bring up things in me. And then I will suddenly just go down very quickly and be able to analyze what's going on in me, and then I'll release it, and then by the next morning I'm good. And it releases energy, it makes you feel good, and you then have more energy for your projects, and actually it helps you to then defocus off your twin, because I'm noticing some of those polarities were keeping and that enmeshment going on, like keeping this high emotional charge, this mental charge, maybe looking for something from your twin and not really embracing your own journey in through your own shadow. So this can be a way of mirroring and teaching us. And I want to give you an example of the last experience I had. And this is going to sound really weird, but I notice now that every time I have a contact point with my twin, I'll go through a period of feeling really angry afterwards. Now, this is my thing, and it's bringing up like ancestral wounding, feminine wounding. It's showing me quite deeply where those are in my body. Often I'll have this very strong emotion and then I'll feel like little blocks maybe around my knee or my ankle, and I'll feel this energy. And if I try not to hold on to it, if I just observe it, then it will release. Now, I also noticed when I was going through a big one of these a couple of months ago, that I had a friend who's a homeopath, and she suggested some homeopathy, and I took that, and it was really good. I had like amazing insights, because essentially what's being triggered in me is when you meet with your twin, remember it's the same resonance. You're like tuning forks, you tune each other, and it was bringing me into alignment and pushing out what was keeping me out of alignment. And there seems to be a lot on my ancestral energy around feminine wounding. I tend to go into kind of shield maiden, and the anger is part of that. The anger is part of not really trusting the masculine, not really trusting their behavior, and not really feeling safe. And also, my twin has reflected that in his behavior. Like some of the times he's behaved in like a really confusing way, like a really kind of hot cold vibe and doesn't actually make any sense. But I can see now through the balancing of this energy that actually as he is responding to his own triggers that are going on. So it's like we're both wobbling around all over the place. But I'm noticing now that if I can really get into contact, then it feels like it releases much more quickly. I'm going to share with you what happened on the last point of contact because it's still alive in me. I'm still working with it, but it like came up really clearly and then it subsided because I was able to kind of work with it. Even though my twin was being really nice with me, I felt this deep sense when I left of anger coming up, which is my pattern. And then as I let that subside and I went into that anger, I felt this deep feeling of humiliation. And it was like coming into like around my collarbone, around my throat chakra, just above my heart. And to get in contact with that vibration was very interesting in my energy field because humiliation, I think we feel it, but we don't always know how to work with it. But it was like I had instant clarity with, okay, I'm feeling humiliated. Why am I? He didn't do anything in that situation that made me feel humiliated, but I was having a kind of memory trigger from how he behaved last year, being hot and cold, and also then a memory trigger to how men in general behave. And the humiliation was so much that I just wanted to just step away from it. I just felt so angry with him. I just wanted to step away. So this kind of power in this, like, is helping us to really come into a sense of our own power, to maybe not be so needy and codependent on a twin, like to know that actually in this moment I can validate and value my own feelings and emotions, and I can also release them. I can see that there wasn't actually a time and a space in that moment to provoke the humiliation that I was feeling, but it was an old memory, it was an old wound that was coming up and really allowing me to move through it and to come to a new sense of worth. Because as you might know, with something like humiliation, it's often when we've had wounding in the past where we've been devalued. And I had a very deep sense of this quality coming as one of the psychic scars on the masculine feminine energy. And obviously, this twin dynamic, we're working with our masculine feminine within us, and it's reflected in our twin, but also on the wider psyche of society and the masculine and feminine balance of how we're working with each other. It was a deep sense of how the masculine has devalued the feminine, has sometimes projected onto the feminine their own feelings of low value and lack of self-worth. And this kind of mirroring and teaching was helping me to release that at a deeper level. Almost like from my cellular matrix, I could feel it moving through my body. And if you really allow yourself not to react too much to these emotions that are coming up, to sit there and read the energy, you're being shown very clearly what there is to integrate and balance and to clear at a soul level. So this is where the work really becomes very dynamic and very powerful. That all happened very recently, and then within an evening, I'm like released and I feel much better. So when you feel this, just don't get caught up in the story or the personality, or maybe even try and project it back onto your twin because you are both trying to balance this polarity. And the awakened twin, we're lucky enough to receive this information intuitively and be able to work through it in our bodies through sensations, through visions, through dreams, but through working with your guides and your higher guidance and through your emotional shifts. We're really lucky to be able to have this dynamic principle going on. Now, I wouldn't want to in any way go back to the feelings I had at the beginning of the journey, like this deep, dark night of the soul that kept going and this grief, this grief that was happening. I mean, I cried every single day last year, and it was like really, really difficult. But you have to let yourself go through this, let yourself embrace it, let yourself walk through that shadow self, knowing that you're going to come out of it, shining. You're going to come out of it alive and bright and shining. I would say when you have a contact point with your twin, notice what they're saying, notice how you're feeling, and then ask yourself, like, what is this showing me? what is the energy I'm feeling? What is the energy vibration sitting in me right now? And it could change. Like I noticed that mine fluctuates like this. Like I'll work through one thing and then another thing would come up and then another thing would come up and I'll love them one moment, hate them the next. It like shh. And I'm going through all of that. And we want to try and balance it so that we're not projecting through the bond of these woundings, these rejections. We're trying to slowly, slowly come into wholeness with ourselves and by releasing these flows of emotion that come up. You can also say what is being brought into the light for healing and release. What is being brought into the light? And for me, it was this feeling of humiliation. That's a horrible thing to feel, but now I can acknowledge it, I can name it, I can feel it, I can even track back maybe how he's triggered it. I can then go back into my own story, my own biography in this lifetime, in this incarnation, about how that feels. Then I went down into the ancestral lines, the ancestral lineage. I could feel that vibrating at a cellular level through my feminine ancestry and maybe even through some of my masculine ancestry actually as well. Like the feelings of humiliation is not a nice process to go through, but we have to release what has been done in the past. And then I could feel like almost like my past life memory of any experiences of being humiliated, and also and then I got to the collective level. So we can dissolve all these parts. We're here as divine feminines to dispel, to take apart what has been illusion, what has been spelled upon us, what has been part of the matrix, and we're able to release these vibrations now. We're an amazing time to be alive. The fact that twin flames are coming now and we're doing this together as a collective, on an individual level, but as a collective, is phenomenal. Phenomenal. We will not know the power of this until we move beyond this life and look back and we go through our stories and realize what an important time it is to be alive and doing this work. Just remember here that between the twin flames, there is an energetic dialogue going on. There is an energetic dialogue between you as souls, and when you have this meeting point, there is an energy exchange, almost like an update of where you're at, and you'll go to the next level each time. And your higher selves are always communicating through these small sacred movements. And I kind of see them like patterns. And when one person gets a bit stuck, they're kind of shifted out. And if you get a bit stuck, you're shifted out back in this dynamic flow. So when you start seeing this journey this way, I think it becomes less weighted. I think it becomes less about waiting or chasing and more about listening and vibrating and tuning in to what your soul and your twin soul are co-creating together. So even when there is silence here, we know that there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of communication through dreams, through mental dialogue, through emotional dialogue. So just know that even the distance where you're doing your work in your separate spaces, there is a huge amount of vibration going on between you. And the twin flame energy is all about frequency. So this works in a kind of forms and patterns without words. And the awakened twin that you have the sensitivity to read this. So this is incredible. So the next time your twin appears or you get a message from them, then just see what's being revealed. See what they're telling you. They might not tell you exactly what you want to hear, but they might be telling you where they're at. Just listen. Just allow them to go through their process because you're actually being given a mirror. And once you hear that they're going through an upgrade, they're changing a job, they're moving house, they're moving location, they've left this partner, they've got a new friend, they've got this, and blah, they've got ideas. Just know that this is them showing you that they're changing, they're being inspired, they're moving, they're radiating this, they're using this frequency in a way that is maybe for the best of both of you, even if you can't see it just yet. And I see that a lot. Like, I think we get kind of sucked in as feminines that we want to know when is it going to happen? When is he going to come back? And like all this kind of fixity and expectation. And it can be one of the hardest things in this journey to start releasing that and use this energy for your own growth, for your own soul mission to develop and to evolve. So each contact point is revealing to you where you are, where you both are in this journey. So you are healing together, and there is a healing wave that's moving through you and also moving through the collective. So through this awareness, let's use it and allow that process, even though it's taking you up and down, allow it to release energy so you can transcend and come back into love. You and your twin are working together on this journey. And if you are not sure of that, ask for a sign. Say, show me. Show me that we're working together as a team because at the moment it feels like we're very separate. Show me that we're working and see what happens, see what comes up in your world. I did do a video on the animal signs, maybe even ask for an animal sign. Show me this beautiful twin animal so I can know what's going on. This will get easier, and I'm noticing on the journey it's getting quicker as well. Like my rebounds, once I've reframed it, I'm coming back stronger. I'm coming back quicker and I'm coming back stronger. It's because I'm releasing and healing, and my energy body is realigning, and it's having a chance to realign in this lifetime, which is incredible. So just know that your twin is you helping you. There is love there, even if they're not able to show it just yet in the physical world. If you liked my video today and this message resonated with you, I'd love it if you commented, maybe on some experiences you've been having, and so we can share it and see how the awakened twins are working with this energy. And please don't forget to subscribe because that really helps my channel. And if you like what I'm doing, I also running a Monday night meditation till the end of the year where you can come and join me and we just reset our energy as a collective and help to give energy vibrations and boost to people who might be struggling in the connective as well. I'm doing a Divine Feminine Pathway workshop on Wednesday. Come join me for that. Or if you want a Twin Flame Clarity session, or even better, a soul session or an Akashic Record session to look at your Akashic Record, see what you're incarnating with this time, see what you want to work with, or if you're really stuck on something, like be it money or anything that's going on, maybe confusions about your soul work, come and join me on a session where we can really look at it together and work out how to release the energy around that and help you move forward.